in the past 3 years that the way you view your circumstances has a lot to do with the way you view God. And I've learned that whenever I see bad things happen to good people, it's not just because bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. It's because those things happen to everyone, and we live in the world, and it's an unfair world. And there's nothing you can do to control it, but the way you view God really helps you whenever you're in those difficult times. Last year, my parents were going through a really difficult time, and we had just moved back from Texas, and my dad had been a pastor there, and we'd lived there for a year and things hadn't worked out, so we came back to Arizona, and then things were going really rough for my parents. And I just started school for my first semester in college, and they decided they were going to get a divorce about the same time. And it was extremely hard for me to understand because my dad had been a pastor, and me and my siblings were always like, we were really good kids, I thought. And my mom was incredible too. I didn't understand why something of this nature would happen to my family and why God would allow us to go through this. It didn't make any sense to me. I didn't understand why God would allow such bad things to happen to my family in particular. And so I went to school and I started my semester there, and I would constantly get calls from my mom or my sister telling me new things about where things were going with my parents, and it was always extremely hard to hear. And when I would come home from school, I would see something very different within my family. My sister was praying a whole lot more. She was getting into her Bible a whole lot more, just because of the pressure that was being put on her because of my parents going through this divorce. And my mom was reading the Bible more. She was listening to more Christian music. She was doing everything she could to get closer to God. And every time I would come home, there would be a new Bible verse on an index card stuck to her mirror somewhere. And more would just accumulate all the way around, and it eventually went to the next mirror because she couldn't fit anymore. And I just saw a huge change in both of them through the pressure, because instead of allowing the circumstances to change them, they were changing their circumstances. After about 6 months or so of going through this, I got a call one night whenever I was at school, and it was my mom. And she just wanted to tell me that my dad had come back and they had started going on dates again out of nowhere, and that he wanted to be with my family again, and he wanted to be specifically with my mom again. And I was able to come home this summer to all 4 of my family members living at home. No divorce ever happened, and I can see now that the reason God put the bad things in my life was to grow me and my family, and it wasn't because he wanted to punish us for anything that had happened. It was because he wanted to grow us as people and grow us closer together as a family. And I can honestly say, sitting here now, that if it hadn't been for that, I wouldn't be as close as I am to any of my family members, just because of the situation we had been in.